As an invaluable environmental treasure and powerful economic engine, the Texas coast and the people who live there are vital to the strength of our state and our nation. With over 3,000 miles of shoreline, the Texas coastal zone is immense, with 6.5 million residents living in large cities as well as small communities. The Texas coast is a massive economic and business generator for the state and nation. And the Texas coastline is an environmental gem with wildlife, natural habitats, and beaches for families to enjoy. But the Texas coast is now threatened by disasters which continually place communities at risk, with people's lives, the health of the economy, and our environment in jeopardy. Hurricanes and their associated storm surge of water threaten the viability of the future of the Texas coastline. The Texas coast is subject to coastal erosion, relative sea level rise, coastal storm surge, habitat loss, and water quality degradation. Just looking at 2 recent storms paint a dangerous and destructive picture. In 2008, Hurricane Ike incurred over $30 billion in damage with 113 deaths. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey incurred over $125 billion in damage with 68 deaths. These storms will continue to challenge Texas and our way of life. As the Commissioner of the Texas General Land Office, I am committed to making sure that this state makes critical decisions that protect the people, economy, and natural resources of the Texas coast. Texas fuels the nation with 30% of the refining capacity and most of the nation's strategic petroleum reserves. The Texas coast is home to the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway, the nation's 3rd busiest inland waterway. More than 564 million tons of cargo pass through Texas ports each year. Ports in Beaumont, Port Arthur, and Corpus Christi all support deployment of our military forces, with Beaumont handling more military cargo than any other port in the United States. Our state's intercoastal waterways support commercial and recreational fishing, as well as recreational activities and tourism. The time is now for Texas and our nation to plan for and then implement solutions to protect our coastal communities while ensuring our state's and nation's stability for decades to come. The Texas General Land Office is proud to be partnered with the United States Army Corps of Engineers to develop a plan of multiple lines of defense against hurricanes all along the Texas coastline.
Here in Galveston at the Army Corps of Engineers regional offices, we accept the challenge to take on the dangers that threaten the Texas coast. Our mission is to deliver vital public and military engineering services to strengthen our nation's security, energize the economy, and reduce risks from disasters. In 2015, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, in partnership with the Texas General Land Office, began the $20 million Coastal Texas Protection and Restoration Study. The goal of the study is to provide a long-term approach to enhance resiliency in coastal communities and to improve Texans' capabilities to prepare for, resist, recover, and adapt to hurricanes and other coastal hazards up and down the Texas coast. When completed in 2021, the proposed plan will be presented to the United States Congress for authorization and funding. The possible cost, early estimates are in the billions. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is committed to finding engineering solutions for our nation's toughest challenges, and protecting Texas from hurricanes may be the toughest challenge we have faced yet, but we welcome the challenge.
What makes this study unique is the sheer magnitude and scale of what we're trying to achieve. This study will identify a number of coastal storm risk management and ecosystem restoration solutions all along the Texas coast. We will create multiple lines of defense using 2 strategies: by constructing large infrastructure and by restoring and utilizing natural ecosystems. The toughest challenge is identifying a solution that would defend the Houston-Galveston region from hurricanes and their destructive storm surges. Every year, hurricanes coming into the Gulf of Mexico threaten to flood the Houston-Galveston region and its surrounding communities and industries. It's no longer a matter of if, but when the next storm surge threatens the economy and the way of life for millions of Texans. And the threat of sea level rise could make matters worse. In terms of infrastructure, Our plan is to construct a coastal storm surge barrier system that's over 70 miles long. The barrier starts on high ground north of High Island, running the length of the Bolivar Peninsula, crossing the entrance to Galveston Bay, then across the length of Galveston Island, incorporating the existing seawall, continuing to the west, ending at San Luis Pass. At the bay entrance, a system of storm surge gates will be constructed to accommodate deep draft navigation to the ports of Galveston, Texas City, and Houston. A large navigation gate will be placed across the ship channel. Environmental gates will maintain proper flow with the Gulf of Mexico. These movable surge gates across the channel will only close during storms to reduce storm surge into the bay. These gates could be like those found in London on the Thames, in Venice on the Lido Inlet, and along the coastline of the Netherlands. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Texas General Land Office are working with experts within the United States and around the world to design the most effective barrier system that meets the needs of Texas.
Construction of storm surge barrier systems will only be a part of reducing risks to the Texas coast from hurricanes. Maintaining the coast's natural features is critical not only for fisheries, marine mammals, and birds, but also for the people that live and work along the coast. The Coastal Texas Study is examining opportunities for ecosystem restoration, including restoring, enhancing, and protecting wetlands, protecting bays and estuaries from erosion, restoring and nourishing beaches and dune systems, creating and enhancing bird rookery islands and oyster reefs, and preserving thousands of acres of seagrasses. These ecosystems are of national importance because they are foraging, nesting, and essential habitats for threatened and endangered species. They also provide nursery habitat for commercially and recreationally important fisheries. The environment along the coastline, islands, shorelines, bays, and estuaries provide the multiple lines of defense we need to protect and restore the state's coast. As an added benefit, these critical natural features will not only provide essential habitats for wildlife, but will reduce the effects of waves and storm surge by absorbing storm energy.
The Coastal Texas Study will include an environmental impact statement considering impacts to the environment, the economy, and national security interests. Social and cultural resources will also be considered. Throughout the study, we will have public meetings allowing Texans to help understand needs and possible solutions for coastal protection. We want to ensure that all outcomes as it relates to the preservation and maintenance of the affected environment and coastal communities are based on an environmental impact analysis and public input.
The Texas General Land Office, working alongside the United States Army Corps of Engineers, is committed to finding real-world solutions to the real-world dangers that threaten the coast. The Coastal Texas Study will be created to support, protect, and sustain the environment, economy, and culture of our Texas coastline. From Port Arthur to Port Isabel, we will be working with the people that live along the Texas coast to ensure that lives, their property, and their way of life in large cities and small are protected for many generations to come.